We're about to dive into something that's a massive leap forward in artificial intelligence. We're talking about a shift from AI that just answers your questions to AI that actually does things for you. This is agentic AI. This is the code that is, well, starting to take control. Let's get right into it.
So, to really wrap our heads around this, we actually have to start with, well, us. We all navigate the world using an internal world model. Just think about a professional baseball player for a second. When a 100-mile-an-hour fastball is screaming towards them, they don't have time to run the physics equations, they just react. And they do it based on this deeply ingrained predictive model of the world that they've built over thousands and thousands of hours. They don't calculate, they predict.
And this right here is the huge breakthrough. We have now built AI that works on that exact same principle. It builds a model of its own digital world. It predicts what's going to happen next, and then it takes action to achieve a specific goal. It's not just sitting there waiting for a prompt anymore, it's acting.
Okay, so let's jump into our first section, Beyond the Prompt. This is all about that fundamental switch from an AI that answers our questions to one that actually achieves our goals.
This slide just breaks it down perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the AI we all know and use, right? The chatbot. You ask it something, it gives you an answer. Simple. But on the right, that's agentic AI. You don't just give it a prompt, you give it an objective. Something like, hey, plan me a 3-day trip to Chicago and keep it under $1,500. It doesn't just talk about it, it goes and does it.
So let's put a more formal definition on this. Agentic AI are systems that can set their own sub-goals, figure out which tools to use, and then take a whole series of actions to hit a target, all with very little hand-holding from us. Think about that travel agent AI again. It has to set sub-goals, like booking the right flight, then finding a hotel, then creating an itinerary. It has to choose its tools, airline websites, reservation systems, and then it actually executes all those steps in a logical order. So how does this whole thing actually work? Let's get into Section 2, the agent and action. We're going to take a look under the hood. At the heart of it all is this simple but really powerful loop. First, the agent senses its environment. It looks at the data, the websites, whatever it has access to. Then it decomposes that big, messy goal into smaller, manageable steps. Next, it selects the right tools for the job, maybe an API here, a search engine there, and finally, it executes those actions. And after every single action, it senses the result and starts the loop all over again, constantly learning and adjusting until the job is done.
And look, this is not some far-off sci-fi concept. It is happening right now in some really critical situations. I mean, think about it. AI agents are out there dynamically rerouting city traffic to prevent jams. They're writing and debugging their own software code. They are autonomously defending our networks from cyber attacks. They're managing power grids and flagging financial fraud faster than any team of humans ever could.
So that probably makes you wonder, right? How on earth do you safely test something that's designed to act on its own? You can't just let it loose on the actual power grid on day one. Well, developers use something called model-in-the-loop testing. They build these incredibly realistic digital twins of the real world, like a simulated city or a copy of a computer network, and they let the agent run thousands and thousands of scenarios to find every possible failure point before it ever touches a live system.
Now, this brings us to a really critical topic. Section 3, the human in the loop. Because as these systems get more and more powerful, we absolutely need a new set of rules to govern them.
And that brings us to the fundamental question we all have to grapple with. When an AI agent is controlling something real, like a city's traffic grid, who or what is controlling the agent?
It's such a big question that governments are already stepping in. The White House recently defined a really crucial category called safety impacting AI. Basically, this is any AI whose actions could have a major impact on the safety of people, our critical infrastructure, or other strategic assets. This definition draws a very clear line in the sand for the kinds of systems that need the absolute highest level of scrutiny.
So for any U.S. government agency using this kind of powerful AI, 3 core rules now apply. First, you have to do an impact assessment to figure out all the risks. Second, you need an independent evaluation to prove the system works and that the benefits are actually worth those risks. And third, and this one is so important, there must always be a human in the loop, ready to provide oversight and, if necessary, hit the off switch.
So, where does all of this leave us? Let's get into our final section, the trust equation. It's all about balancing the incredible new capabilities of agentic AI with the absolute, non-negotiable need for reliability.
And look, the capability it's just staggering. Some of these agentic frameworks are already reporting 94% accuracy in handling really complex multi-step tasks. That kind of performance is exactly why this technology is being adopted so quickly.
But, and this is a big but, 94% is not 100%. And that 6% gap is where all the trust issues live. We still have some major challenges to solve. How do we make these things reliable when they run into something totally new? How do we get teams of AI agents to work together without causing chaos? And how do we secure them from hackers trying to trick them? And on top of all that, we still haven't really figured out who's legally on the hook when one of these agents gets something wrong.
So the big takeaway here isn't that it's humans versus AI. That's really the wrong way to look at it. The real goal, the real challenge, is designing a partnership that we can actually trust. It's about building AI that isn't just powerful, but is also transparent, reliable, and working towards the same goals we are.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. A question for you, actually. As these agents get woven deeper and deeper into the fabric of our world, from managing our traffic to writing our software, how much of your world are you ready to hand over to one?